Hey, good evening. My name is Ryan Hughes. I'm the incident commander of the Type 3 fire that's currently out on the hill right now at Sylvan Lake, so the Sylvan Fire IC. Sitting next to me is Lisa Steffler, the Deputy Forest Supervisor for the White River National Forest.
I think we're going to have you start off and give us
Okay, you want me to give
let's
the
start with the
full?
operational briefing. Yeah, we're going to start with the operational briefing tonight, and then we'll talk a little bit about what's happening next with the team and
Absolutely.
other information for the county.
Okay, absolutely.
Thank you, Ray.
Yeah, so with an incident update, so today the fire, we didn't get a lot of movement out of the fire today. You know, the cloud cover and the higher RHs really helped us out. Temps were up as well. So relative humidity,
Hey,
you know,
Ryan,
less.
real quick,
Yeah.
you're going to use an acronym. What's on RH so people understand?
So yeah, relative humidity is RH. So that really, that means there's more moisture in the air. Fuels are less available to burn, so trees and grass and what have you are less available to burn in the fire. So last night we had the fire move across our control line, or our planned control line at Sylvan Lake on the Power Line Road. We initiated a burning operation to remove some of the fuels between the main fire and the lake. That was a successful operation. All said, that totaled about 100 acres. Another kind of containment breach that we had last night of our control lines was on the east side of the fire in the vicinity of the 400 road. On the 400 road, which is Crooked Creek Pass for those folks that are familiar with the area. Fire got across and kind of spotted over. That was about 20 acres. Crews made very good progress on that today as well, using hand line, going as close to the fire's edge as they possibly could. You know, there is a snag hazard there, and they certainly tried to avoid the hazard as best they could, but really wanted to work close to the fire's edge to kind of reduce spotting potential, et cetera. So last night on the south end of the fire, you know, the fire stayed above the power line, you know, so very high up in the Crooked Creek Pass area, slightly off the Red Table Ridge shoulder. Today, that was still active in there today, but not nearly as active as we've seen. I think for people that are kind of been watching the sky over the last few days, there was a noticeable decrease in the amount of smoke that was produced on the fire today. There was an area interior that did burn. At this point in the incident, that's a welcome, you know, thing, because that reduces the fuels that are available later. And today, kind of with the conditions, we had less chance of spotting outside the fire perimeter. So that's a summary of how the fire went today. We did use 3 Type 1 helicopters, so large helicopters. We used 1 Type 3 helicopter, which is kind of a smaller recon helicopter, and we used that for firing operations to remove additional fuels in the fire area between containment lines and the main fire. That was successful today as well. We did not use retardant today. We did not have a need for it. We did use retardant from very large air tankers and large air tankers yesterday along the Red Table Ridge area, as well as the Peter Eston Hut vicinity, to help protect that value at risk. So really, you know, our management action points that we have out in front of the fire now, as kind of a far out option, is East Brush Creek. So management action point is something that if the fire were to breach that, it would trigger a specific action. You know, in this case, it would trigger actual evacuations of additional areas. We're nowhere near that. Like I said, you know, across the 400 road, which was our last management action point, we only went over that by about 20 acres, and we think we're going to catch that piece. So to the south of the fire again, management action points there that we have in place are Jakeman Creek and Freeman Creek and Rudeye Creek. All 3 of those are heavily timbered in the upper areas. We haven't had any issues in there. The fire is nowhere near those vicinities right now. And really, there is a lot of green aspen and green grass up there that the fire will move through very sluggishly if it moves through it at all. So that's the update from me. I'll pass it over to Lisa. Again, Lisa's the Deputy Forest Supervisor for the White River National Forest. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you, Ryan. I just want to acknowledge Ryan and his crew. So we're at a point in this fire where we've called in an incident management team, and so that means that Ryan and his crew will be transitioning out of management of the fire. He'll be transitioning to a new incident commander who we'll introduce tonight, Dan Dallas. And just to give you a little snapshot, what Ryan and his small crew of people has done in the last 3 days is truly remarkable. And we gather up the available local resources we have, we send them to this fire, and they made tremendous progress and used the resources that they had to get this ready for this team coming in. And although the fire grew, and we really were able to contain it within, the area that we could manage it. So thank you for that. It's just remarkable what they have accomplished in these handful of days. So now we're in the position where we feel like it's exceeded the capability of our local resources to continue to management. We need some more resources, some more tools at our disposal, so we have the ability to call in an incident management team with a larger number of folks, some more resources, some more tools, some expertise, and some qualifications that they can bring to help us with managing that fire, doing long-term planning, providing more public information, some more mapping tools, that kind of thing. On that, in that vein, I also want to stress that although we have this team here and they bring a lot of horsepower, first of all, the Forest Service people aren't leaving. Your local folks, your local county people, your local Forest Service people, we continue to be engaged in the fire and work with the team to support the incident. So we'll still be here and really relying on this team to help us make more progress. The other thing I want to stress is that even though we have this team and they bring a lot more resources, we're a long way away from having this fire be out. All of you locally know the kinds of conditions that we're facing. Those conditions are not going to end anytime soon. We have heavy fuels in this part of the forest. And so we're really working to kind of get ahead of it and get our hands around it. But I want to prepare people for the probability this fire will be with us for a very long time. We're just figuring out how to manage it, how to kind of contain it and corral it, and how to get some better tools about predicting what it's going to do. So that's what we hope to use the team to do. But we'll be here for quite a while, likely most of the summer until there's some major change in the weather, which does not look to be on the horizon. One more thing, the closures that we had with the existing fire that we've put into place, those are still in place. We haven't changed those recently, so please still continue to observe those and the road closures and the area closures. And then finally, and I know Sheriff Van Beek is going to talk about it as well, the Forest Service and many of our partners will be going into stage 2 fire restrictions at midnight on Thursday. They mean slightly different things depending on where you are, but on National Forest System land, that means a closure of all campfires, not just remote campfires, but campfires even in developed sites. So please prepare for that. Be ready to observe that. If you are going out, bring camp stove, and just be ready, please. I think we cannot overstate the severity of the dryness and the fuel conditions out there now. So with that, I want to introduce Dan Dallas, who is stepping in as the incident commander for this team. We have a long history with Dan. Dan works in Colorado for the Forest Service, has for many years. He's been involved in fire and incident teams for a very, very long time, and we have complete confidence in him and his team. I'm just going to allow him to introduce himself, give maybe a little snapshot of what they'll be up to in the next few days.
Well, between Ryan and Lisa, they made my job easier. I'll just say, again, I'm Dan Dallas. I'm the incoming incident commander. We'll take control of the fire tomorrow at 6 o'clock in the morning. And I want to echo, got a great briefing from Ryan and his crowd. Great briefing from the White River and the sheriff. So I think we're in a good place to transition. Ryan ordered a whole bunch of resources that are starting to arrive, so appreciate that. And also, I think he might have ordered the weather. So we're going to try and exploit it and take advantage with the resources we have to try and, if you will, make some real progress out there on the fire to the extent we can with the cooler weather, the cloud cover and that sort of thing. So really glad we're here. Really no difference between my team and Ryan's team. Lisa explained it a little bit. However, we just bring more capacity. Right? We've got overlap. We've got, you know, there's about 50 of us that show up, where Ryan, you probably had less than 20, you know, that sort of thing. So that's the only difference. The expertise is the same and all that sort of stuff. So really glad we're here. We've been here in the vicinity many, many times. For instance, when you were having your grizzly fire here last year, we were just down the road at Pine Gulch. So my history here goes back to Dotsero Crater 20-some years ago. So anyway, he probably doesn't need any introduction here, but I'll hand it over to Sheriff Van Beek.
Well, thank you. Appreciate you being here. Hey, Ryan, I know, and the one thing that hasn't been answered yet, so I'm going to put you on the spot right now because I know a lot of people are really questioning it, but what's the status of the Sylvan Lake State Park? I mean, is it on fire? I've been there, but let's tell our community what's going on, please, if you would, because that's a big thing for us.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm a local resident. It's a big thing for me as well. Sylvan Lake State Park, again, fire came down to the lake's edge. We kept it away from the campground. Much of the edge of the lake still looks very much the same. There is a patch of black that comes down to the lake. But your view out of your tent or camper from your campsite will look very similar for the most part. And hopefully we'll have some new trees in there in a couple of years. And at this point, the park is in good shape, and the grass is really green in the park. And yeah, we'll look forward to going up there and recreating with everybody else. So.
Thanks. So I'm going to talk about the evacuation. We kind of talked about some of this a little bit already, but there's still currently mandatory evacuation orders that are being implemented for the Fulford area, Yeoman, and the Hat Creek area, Sylvan Lake State Park, Hardscrabble Mountain, and as well as Crooked Creek Pass, Wood Lakes area. So far, those are the only hard one. There's very few people. We had a few folks that we did a pre-evacuation with. The majority of the folks had left any of those areas, and I think when we actually went to a hard evacuation, there was about half a dozen folks that are out of the area. Currently, there's a pre-evacuation order that was implemented for the gypsum, along the Gypsum Creek at the very beginning, starting about mile marker 6 on the way up, as well as Frost Creek, Bruce Creek, and Salt Creek. And those are on the Eagle side. That doesn't mean that you need to leave the house. What a pre-evacuation is to start preparing to evacuate on a short notice. So we're encouraging people to look at the Ready, Set, Go program, have things, but have your essentials packed or near the door, medications, money, documents, irreplaceable items. And we're also encouraging those with any kind of livestock that's going to take a lot of time to move to start doing that now. We unfortunately had some folks that we had the pre-evacuation in some of these areas. We put the evacuation in order, then they called us up and said, well, I want to go get all my equipment that I still have stored up there, and we're not going to let anybody back in there. So please, if you got things that need to move, plan ahead. This gives you everyone a time. There is no imminent threat to these areas. We work very, very closely with the Forest Service and with the fire crews, and if it is, then we'll let you know. So again, I can't stress that enough. If there is pets, if there is livestock, again, assistance can be provided through the CSU Extension Office, which is on this side of the valley. And please call Denise, and Denise can be contacted at 970-379-7731. And then again, if you're curious exactly where everything's at, if you go to the ecemergency.org website, you can get the map and all the other additional information that we're talking about, and then it'll also direct you to the Forest Service and fire map, and it'll show you where the boundaries are on that one. We are, as Lisa talked about, we're going into stage 2 fire restrictions as of midnight Friday morning, or Thursday night, Friday morning. It means Eagle will have to move to a much more serious, if we get any kind of red flag, that there's absolutely no fire, nothing burning at all. During your stage 2 fire restriction, there is no charcoal, there is no wood, there is no wood smoking. The only thing that's allowed is something with propane, and it has to have a shut-off valve. It has to be controlled. That also means for welding or in doing any kind of fire operations or anything dealing with fire, that you actually need to get a permit from your local fire protection district that shows that you've mitigated the area and that you have fire prevention. Otherwise, you're in violation of that. So please just, we know everybody wants to be out there, but we're already having problems with dispersed camping on BLM. We're having areas of dispersed camping on the Forest Service. Folks, it's tinderbox dry out there. And so we're just asking everyone just to work with us because we already got one fire. Resources are already stretched thin throughout the Southwest. And we got a great crew here, but we just need the community to work with us. So the Type 1 team is here. Again, as Lisa talked about, the local Forest Service will remain on scene, continue to work. Sheriff's Office, law enforcement, we're all partnered. We're all going to be joined at the hip for the next several weeks and possibly the next several months, depending on how things go. And so everybody's going to be there still for you. So we're going to do everything we can to support and collaborate with them, and it's a mutual, because they're going to continue to work with us so that we're working with the community, keeping everyone up to date. Again, we're going to advise everybody that the team is here, and so there's only going to be a lot more traffic. And again, so we're asking everyone to adhere to the road closures. We're asking everyone not to try to go push and try to get as close as they possibly can to the fire scene to try to get some pictures. We're trying to make sure that there's enough social media out there that people can see what's going on a daily basis. But we're also telling you, watch out for the trucks, keep the kids away. They're aware the team came in. That was part of the safety briefing. They know where they're at. But it's going to be a lot of extra traffic moving. So we're asking everyone just to be extremely cautious and use caution. Had a lot of people who asked about volunteering and so on. Directly volunteering at any of the scenes is extremely difficult, and it doesn't work very well. So if you want to look and help locally and so on, again, we're encouraging to contact the Salvation Army or the Red Cross, who's doing a lot of support for the team right now. And so, folks, if you're looking for a volunteer program or something to do, because we appreciate it, we understand it, but the Type 1 teams, they kind of come in with their own city and everything, and they're their own entity and that type of deal. And we can't use typically direct support, but if you can do it from a community-based point, please do so. They're expecting calls, they're expecting people to contact, and anything you can do is there. So other than that, I think we're really good.
Great. Thanks, everyone. We'll do this again
Friday?
Friday? Yeah, we plan to do this Monday, Wednesdays, and Fridays until we put out a different schedule.
Thank you. Have a good night.